Hello and welcome to the Slippery Debrief. I'm Scott, she's Nancy, and we are ready to dig deeper into the bank robbery story of Xaviar Babudar, otherwise known as Chiefsaholic. He's a super fan of the Kansas City Chiefs, and he was robbing banks on the way to games.
He was definitely quite slippery, like what I did there. He eluded federal agents, law enforcement, and he really kept his identity secret from everyone he met at the games. No one really kind of put it together, or why would they? No one knew somebody was out there robbing banks either. And
It's
let's
a
not
quirk.
forget how he slipped away once he was caught.
Yeah, he's quirky, and it's a good scheme. I got to give him that. But it all came crashing to an end, as they always do. Even the best of them can't get away with it forever. Before we start, I want to ask you if you'll give us a like, a subscribe, a share, a good review. Everything helps our little project here. We'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, you can find us on the Slippery Pod on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. And we are on at the Slippery on YouTube. And you can always track us down on our website, theslippery.com.
One more important
What
detail.
did I forget?
If you have a story that you want us to cover,
Okay.
email us, theslipperypod@gmail.com, and we would love to look into any tips that you want to send our way.
So we should do a quick recap of the story of Xaviar Babudar, or just to kind of catch everyone up that maybe didn't listen to the first episode.
This is a guy who grew up in Southern California, but then moved all around. Dad left the family. He starts hopscotching with his mom and his older brother around the country, and they're basically nomads. They're living out of their car, they're homeless. And that lifestyle changes a little bit once Xaviar reaches his 20s and they end up in Kansas City or around the Kansas City area when he starts robbing banks.
Well, he becomes,
Interesting.
I know, it's a crazy story. He becomes what Chiefsaholic, which is a mega fan for the Kansas City Chiefs. He's living that life, but he's going to every game. He's going to the playoffs, the Super Bowl. He's a huge gambler on top of it all, and I guess people, the other mega fans and fans of Chiefsaholic, just assumed, well, he's some wealthy guy, eccentric guy living this life. Look, he gets to travel all over, following the Chiefs.
Right. And that costs a lot of money. So you got to
Yeah.
have a pretty good job to do it, which is probably why he didn't want to tell anybody what his real identity was. He was dressed up as a big wolf with a little hat and a Chiefs jersey. He was very recognizable once he was in the stadium, but beyond that, he was not, because in his spare time, he was going around to banks all over the place: Minnesota, Denver, Iowa, Texas, you
Oh
name it,
God, yeah.
walking in, jumping over counters with a gun. Who knows if it was loaded? I think it was a fake gun or a
Yeah.
BB gun most of the time, and demanding, putting the fear of God into bank tellers and customers alike as he walked out with loads of cash and then straight to casinos where he exchanged the money for chips.
He threw in a little money laundering along the way. So,
Yeah.
he knew what he was doing. He was all about getting to the money, gambling, getting to the games. It was a cycle he repeated over and over. He was picked up riding a bicycle, which is just cracks me up all but anyway, picked up riding a bicycle away from one of the robberies. He was cooling his jets in jail, where bond was set at about $200,000 for a while. It took federal authorities a little while to piece it all together and figure out that he was responsible for upwards of 11 or 12 bank robberies. It wasn't just a one off. This is how he was supplementing his football lifestyle. I
I guess
mean,
so.
it's
Yeah.
crazy.
The guy who put up the money to get him out of jail is with us today. This is a great booking, Nancy.
Our guest today knows all too well about Xavier's months on the run because he is the bail bondsman that ultimately helped to tracking him down when he went on the run. They got him, were able to arrest him, and he was held accountable for the terror that he caused to all these bank employees. So, welcome to the show, Michael Lloyd.
Good
Hey,
morning,
Mike.
guys.
All
Good
right.
morning.
Good
All right,
morning.
Michael. So, how okay, tell our listeners first off a bail's bond. We hear it all the time. I bailed out, or yeah, explain how that works, and especially each state or county, everything's different all around, right?
Yeah, each state is different, but it's pretty much the same. It just depends on what the percentages are on what the bondsman will charge in each state. But generally, it's a 10% fee. For instance, family members, friends, whoever will call us from the outside and say, "Hey, my loved one, my friend, someone's in jail." When they do that, we talk to them. We look up the information, find out about the individual. Do they have other cases going on? Have they been arrested before? We do a little bit of a background check.
Hmm.
And then once we find out what the bond is, and we'll use Xaviar Babudar's bond, for example. He's got an $80,000 bond. Okay. So his family called me, plus some other folks called me as well. This was a bigger deal than normal.
Hmm.
But just generally speaking, someone would call me, "Hey, the bond's 80,000. Okay, I'd work out with them. Hey, we need some co-signers. What a co-signer is someone to back the bond in case the individual leaves. We can fall back on them and kind of help us find him or talk them into coming back or whatever, or they're responsible for the 80,000.
Hmm.
So they're signing on just like a co-signer would a car, a house, whatever. We also get sometimes collateral on bonds that are really high. We'll get something to back the bond that's worth the amount of the bond. So in case they run, we could sell that product or whatever. Okay.
Right.
And then in this particular case, it was a 10% fee, which is $8,000. So they had to pay me $8,000 plus co-signers. I did not get any collateral on this bond because, like I said, this bond was a little unique, and I'm sure we'll talk about that as we go.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I mean, it was Xaviar Babudar, the Wolfman, Chiefsaholic. I mean, come on, I had to help the guy.
Right.
Well, okay, let's
Uh,
let's get to that because I do think that is interesting. That is what I want to say sold you on taking something that was kind of risky, right? Because word was out that that's who this was because people didn't know it locally at first, right? And then it gets put together, and then it's Chiefsaholic is behind bars. How we got to help him, and they're trying to get him out, and it's not so easy, right? Because like you said, there's no collateral, there's no nothing, and you're a
no
fan,
co-signers,
so
no
you
co-signers or nothing.
Mike, are you based in
Total.
Oklahoma or you where he was arrested, or are you in Kansas City?
No, I'm based in Oklahoma, where he was arrested. He was
Okay.
arrested in Bixby, Oklahoma, which is basically Tulsa County. That's the county that I represent mainly, but I can do bonds in the whole entire state. But I cannot go to Missouri or outside the state. Each
Okay.
state has their own bond industry, and it's run, per state.
so
The
So
only
when
thing
you
I
get
can do out of state is go after him. I can go to any state to get him. I
okay.
just can't do a bond in any state.
So the family contacts you from where? Kansas City, or do you hear from Chiefs fans? How do you first hear that this guy's in custody?
Um, I got calls from, let's say, fans. Okay.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Hey, we hear you're in the process of trying to help Xaviar Babudar get out of jail." Yes, I am. Great. I think that's great. They're telling me, "Hey, you're a good guy. Help him out. He needs help." But then some of them were saying, "Don't bond him. He swindled us. He made us believe he was a certain kind of person. Don't bond this scumbag. He's robbing banks, putting guns to people's chests, whatever."
right.
Um, and then, of course, I'm talking to the family, the mother, the brother. They're telling me that, "Oh, I have an antique business." The mother says she has an antique business, and that's what she does. And she sells lots of antiques, makes lots of money. Brother's telling me that he does certain things with hotels, things of that nature. I researched them. Both of them was a lie. And I
Sure.
knew it from the start
Right.
before I did the bond. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
But then I had this company calling me saying, "Mike, um, we need you to, we've talked to many bail bonds where they won't do it. Is there a chance that you'll do it?" Okay. Great, great bunch of guys, film crew. Um, they talk to me and I say, "Heck yeah. I'm not worried about none of that because if he runs, we'll find him. And then if he does run, we can get the cameras on it and find him." It was
Right.
it was very exciting to me because I'm a Chiefs fan. I knew who he was. I didn't know his face, but I knew of him.
Sure.
And I was excited about it. I said, I don't care what we got to do. Let's do this. Let's just do it. It's going to be one of those risks I take.
Which is impressive because I don't think obviously they went through a bunch of people like looking for someone to do it. So looking for a little
A
excitement, a
lot.
little fun, I guess, right? It-
Yep. Yep. I've been doing this 20 something years and it's been kind of boring for a while. At the beginning, I chased a lot of people because I didn't know how to write bonds. Now I do. But I figured, what the heck? There hasn't been no excitement. Let's do it. So,
Yeah, that's a unique opportunity too. So a film company came to you and said, you know what, you should do this, and then we'll be on board with you and kind of film the entire thing.
Yeah, I would imagine that's exciting, and it's going to be like, okay, this is a great challenge. People knew who he was, and so it's a
oh, yeah.
fun project to get involved in. So where tell
Very
us about
fun.
meeting Xavier. So you go down, you get him out, and he's with you basically. Right now, you're like, all right, let's go. What
Yeah,
happens?
I bonded him. And then his mother was here and his brother. They went down and picked him up from the jail. And then he came straight to my office. And of course, the crew was there, the cameras were there. We got all that on film, the whole
Mhm.
9 yards. He signed the paperwork, and he swore up and down to me, hey, I'm not going to run. I explained to him that, I pulled him to the side because I didn't want to embarrass his mom and the brother. I already knew everything about him at this point. And I pulled him to the side and I said, hey, look, there's no co-signers on this. I'm really helping you. Don't do me wrong. And he's, oh, I
Right.
promise I won't do that, blah, blah, blah. And he
Tell
basically signs everything and walks away.
Give us a characterization of each of them, mom, son, and Xavier.
The brother, I believe, is kind of on the spectrum. So don't I'm not saying anything about people that are on the spectrum. I don't
No,
understand that because I'm not around it. But
sure.
he's a very quiet individual, very quiet.
Mhm.
Doesn't like to do much. Doesn't like to talk to people. When he walks, he's kind of tall. He's probably 6'1", maybe, but he bends his head down and he walks with his head down like this. He's not a big guy. He's not like overweight or anything. He's a slim guy, but he just holds his neck down and walks. And if
Mhm.
you don't talk to him, he won't talk to you. I learned throughout the whole entire part of trying to find him and dealing with the family that he just likes to watch TV. That's it. Anything else, he doesn't do it. He doesn't
Mhm.
read. He doesn't do nothing. He just loves to watch TV, which he does inside the car, of course. And they actually had probably about a 26-inch TV in there that they used to watch. So,
Really?
and
Gee.
then the mother, yeah, there's a lot of stuff. The mother is more of she's real reserved. She won't volunteer talking as well. She waits to be talked to, and she's very one word answered. So
Mhm.
if you don't ask her an open ended question, it'll be yes, no. That's it. She won't say nothing else. But I mean, I understand why she's like that.
Mhm.
And
Why?
she's probably why you say
Yeah,
why is
why?
she like that? I think it's her lifestyle. I mean, they've been on the road since Xavier's been 9 years old. What they've done is, I know we're getting kind of off topic, but they had about 3 to 4 automobiles and they would park them between Kansas and Kansas City, Missouri. And what they do is they just travel around in big circles. That's all they do every single day, all day long. And they've got a system. They love Target. They go in
Okay.
there and they steal bags, like the big chunk of bags. They put
Mhm.
everything in bags. Everything goes in bags in their car. Their car just looks like a big Target bag. Um, and they eat at fast food places. There's a couple that they like to go to every day. Um, they like the jelly donuts is Babudar's brother's favorite donut. Him and his mom argued about, I'm not getting any jelly donuts. And they had a big fit and fight in the parking lot about that.
Where does he fit into the family dynamic?
He's really unique because he's opposite of them. He's very outgoing. He loves attention. He demands it. He loves recognition. He wants people talking about him. He wanted people looking at him. He's just like one of those people, an extrovert times a
Mhm.
thousand, you know, and he likes to be loud. At all the games, he's very loud. Even when I'm talking to him, he's very loud, very outgoing, and he wants you to think that he is just the most amazing person in the whole entire world. But I mean, think about it. He's been in a car since he's been 9, you
Right.
know? To me, if you just meet him on the street, he's just a normal type A outgoing person who just he wants to be your friend. That's it.
Right. So during this, I guess, crime spree that was going on for a little while, they've got their
Uh-huh.
route, which is super interesting. So they drive basically from, whatever, 40 miles to another car and then hang out for the day at their other car and then move again at dinner time? Or do they stay in one
Well, they
place
don't
for
they don't
24 hours?
they don't switch cars every day. Like they'll drive one car for like most of the time it's for like a week, maybe 2 weeks. And what their pattern is every single day. I mean, it doesn't change. You can bet on everything I'm about to say right now.
Mm.
In the morning when they first wake up, they dump all the trash that they've gotten throughout the day. Okay. And they go to one specific location and they dump it in the trash can at that one location.
Let me ask you
Yeah.
this. Before he got caught robbing banks, right? He's
Mhm.
Chiefsaholic, he's all over the place. Is he living with mom and brother in the car during his Chiefsaholic time, or is he kinda on his own checking in with the he's robbing banks to go to all these games, but are they, like, traveling around with him, or is he kinda on his own, do we think?
No, that's the good thing about all his vehicles because see, they could be in one vehicle, they drive, drop him off. What Xavier did not like to do, he did not like to sit in that car with them all day long. So he
Mm,
didn't do that. He was out doing his thing. Okay. He was out being an extrovert. He was out doing the things he needed to do in his little plan. Okay. Um, to take care of his family, plus, you know, fix his little high on his A personality. Because
Right.
I'm telling you, this man loved excitement. And if you weren't exciting, he'll get you there. This
yeah.
guy he's a life of a party, just put it that
Oh,
way.
yeah. I
Well,
know
yeah,
the
I mean, just
type.
watching him as Chiefsaholic, I mean, he
He's mad,
commands
man.
the audience, he rallies
Yeah.
everyone up
Yep.
and running around like a maniac inside the stadium.
Yep.
He's not just, like,
Here I
standing
am.
there
Look
like
at me. Watch how loud I can get.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He was going to charity events and betting on not
Yes.
betting, buying at auctions, so he
Mhm.
was really I would say living a completely opposite lifestyle, I would imagine,
Mhm.
than his mom and brother, but they would always meet up. Like he felt it was his responsibility to help them too, right?
Xavier and his mother had a relationship of this is my boy. I would protect him to the death. And he was, this is my mother. You're not going to mess with my mother. You know what I
Mm,
mean? The other brother, the oldest brother, the mother despised him. She doesn't like him. She called him,
Oh,
I've got him on tape, her calling him a piece of shit. You're never
mm,
going to amount to anything. I mean, how do you tell a kid that's been in the car since he's been, what? He was probably 12. I think he's 3 years older than Babudar. And how do you tell a kid that on the spectrum, too, when he hasn't had opportunity to do anything?
yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I
It's
mean?
cruel. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. It's
It's
Yeah.
horrible.
it's a sad. I'm telling you, the story. I've been empathetic through the whole entire thing. I mean, I'm still not mad at him. I mean, the guy, he gets to federal prison, gets sentenced. The Tulsa County DA is very upset at him and says, "Oh, heck no. I don't care if he goes federal or not. We're bringing him back." So it's not double jeopardy because one is federal, one is state. That's how they got away with it.
Hmm.
Right.
So, not got away, but that's how the law works. So
Yeah.
they sentenced him here. But when he got to Tulsa, he had no way to contact his mother, no way to contact his brother. I put $100 on his book so he could make phone calls. I mean, who does that?
Hmm.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? What bondsman would do that after you pay 80 grand? You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
I was going to say you have been extremely empathetic through all this. In fact, after we
Very,
did the first,
very.
we were recording our first episode about this, and I think both Scott and I were like, "Oh, that bail bondsman's got to be really angry about this." And then when I reached out to you, you're like, "Hell no, I feel bad." And I was just like, "Oh, okay, all right." I didn't see that coming. I can tell you
Well, I know it makes for a better story if I'm angry, but I'm not. I mean, I'm just not.
Let's go back in the moment though, because this is
Sure.
all hindsight right now. At the
Right,
time,
right.
so that you've met them in your office, you're like,
Mhm.
okay, they're going to go stay in a motel. He's got an
Yep.
ankle monitor. I have a little
Yep.
bit of reassurance. I'm feeling pretty solid about this now because it's a family unit. It's difficult to go on the run as a family unit. But then he breaks free. How'd you find out that he took off?
They put a leg monitor on him, and then when you cut it, okay, it takes a minute to do that. It's not easy, but they can cut it, and that's what he was doing. If the leg monitor people would have called me, because there's a tamper alert, so the tamper alert happened, but they just went, "Oh, something's happening." But instead of calling me,
Right.
they didn't do that. They called me an hour and a half later. Well, he was already in the
that. He
wind.
was gone.
He was already
Yeah.
gone. Gone's not the word. But if they would have called me when he was cutting it, they told me the time that the alert came on. I was 7 minutes away from him. I would have got him.
Did he pay cash? Did he pay the $8,000 cash when he came into your office to sign the paperwork?
No, as a matter of fact, he didn't pay it at all. The money didn't come from him or his family. The money came from a concerned fan, citizen.
Okay.
So
So you've got no collateral. You know that he
no
hasn't paid a dime. So you're on high alert because if that ankle monitor goes off, you're
Yep.
jumping in your truck and like heading out after him, I'm sure.
Yep. And you want to hear something funny? I'm gonna throw something in that other people are gonna go, "Is this bail bondsman crazy?" I had such empathy. I had such empathy and excitement about this whole thing. Now, if he's guilty, he deserved what he got. Don't get me wrong, okay?
Sure.
But I still had empathy about the whole. And at this point, I didn't know he was robbing many banks. I just thought it was just one. So when he first got out, he was like, "Oh my God, we're in this hotel. This is going to cost us some money." He said, "I'm not going to have money until this particular day." And he said, I don't know what I'm going to do." Well, out of that 8,000, I gave him $3,000 back
Oh boy.
and put him on a payment plan.
Mike,
Knowing
you are crazy. You
Yeah,
are crazy.
it was very crazy to do that. But like I told you, this was very unique. I don't do this on a daily basis. Okay, I
Sure.
don't
Well,
do
you
that.
couldn't. Yeah,
But
there's no way.
no,
Yeah.
I'd go out of business doing that. Yeah, I'd go out of
For
business.
sure.
But 2 weeks later, just like he said, he came back and paid me. And I know he didn't go rob a bank because he had a leg monitor on. He's not allowed to go by any banks. If he went by
Right.
a bank, they would come after him.
So
So
how do you
went
think he
somewhere
got
to
the
get
money?
Yeah.
A bet?
I don't know. I believe he told me he had a couple like smaller bets that he did, and that his mom or brother or somebody was going to go get. I don't remember exactly. I mean, heck, that was back in 24. So
Sure.
I believe it was something about he was getting money from some bet or something. And we believe, which is totally speculatory, we believe that he was involved with individuals and he got into some kind of trouble, like maybe like a gambling trouble or something,
Uh-huh.
because he was a little nervous and he was talking to us. He would never tell us exactly what was going on, but he just said, "I've got some things I got to take care of, and I got this leg monitor on. I can't do it." He said, "But these are some things I got to take care of," and we just never knew what that was.
When you're in the middle of that with somebody in crisis, which
Yep.
this is your life, right? I mean, you're dealing with people on bail.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you ever throw out some advice like, listen, maybe just chill for a little bit? Maybe like if you got $3,000, put it like on a down payment for an apartment so your family can stay there for a month. Do you ever dole out anything, or do you just mind your own business? Like how do you act?
I'm an unlicensed counselor, pretty much. But people confide in me though, because when I do my business, I don't do it like, "Okay, Mr. Scumbag, you're sitting in front of me. You're going to give me this, 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 and this, or I'm not doing your bond." Okay. I don't do that. They sit in front of me and I talk to them. I find, if you just ask some open ended questions, people are going to talk. Okay. So I let
Yeah.
them talk and I learn everything. I'm writing down everything they say. My friend over on 3rd Street, he's a real good friend of mine. Oh yeah, what's his name? Oh, no, I never
Right.
heard of him. Has he been arrested before? Oh, really? What's his last name? Boom, 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 boom. That's how I get my info,
Well, yeah,
But
because you have no idea if they're ever gonna run, or then you have at least
right,
some starting points of people they may know, right?
right.
I
But I
mean,
mean, I'm the kind of person where like I go, I'm trying to help them. Okay. They need
Right.
some help. So I'm trying to find a way to help them. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
mhm.
So I don't do it like, well, you got to have this, 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 and this, and then I hang the phone up. I don't do that. I try to talk to people. I treat them right. Whatever. And that's how I think every bail bond company should be. But hey, it's their business, not mine. But
Yeah.
I got the Babudar deal, and they didn't. Look at that. Hey,
Yeah. So let's talk about the chase. By the way, one of my favorite movies of all time is Midnight Run, all about bail
uh-huh,
bonds and bounty
uh-huh.
hunters. So this world fascinates me to no end.
Yep,
The monitor is off, the chase is on. He's got an
yep,
hour and a half on you. What's your first
yep.
move?
Well, I've got in the state of Oklahoma, you're not allowed to track people. You can't put trackers on people's car that don't belong to you. Okay. I was very smart in this case because I talked to mom and the brother, and I said, listen, I need you to sign something saying that it's okay for me to track you guys. Okay. And they signed it. So
Oh,
I tracked them.
right, like at the beginning when you took this one
Yes.
on,
I
they
tracked
So
them
signed.
from the very start. I knew where they were every second of the day. So what we did from the very, very start, since I knew he had an hour and a half head start, and then his mother left like probably a couple hours after that. Okay, so she was still in on the move, and she was on her way back to Kansas or Missouri. And it's the highway, you can only go one way. So I'm on the phone with the police and I say, hey, Mike Lloyd bail bonds out of Tulsa. I got Xaviar Babudar, failed to appear warrant, $160,000 bond because it doubles. No,
Mm.
it tripled. No, this was hold without bond. So he had no bond. So they're like, whoa, okay. Well, what's up? And I'm talking to these police and I say, well, right now they're in your area. Well, how do you know that? Just here's where they are right now. So what they did was they drove up, waited for her to make a mistake because they can't stop her for no reason.
sure,
Okay.
sure.
So they have to, and she drives like 20 miles under the speed limit. So it looks like maybe she's drunk or whatever. So they did what they had to do to get the traffic stop. They
Sure.
stopped her, looked inside the car, one male, one female. We told them what they looked like, who would be in the car, but he was never found. They drove another, I don't know, 20, 30 miles. And of course, all up and down that highway, every police agency was looking for him. So
Mm.
they got stopped again. And each one of these agencies that stopped him called me and said, hey, he wasn't in the car. What makes you think he's there? Blah, blah, blah. I said, well, he's got to be by himself. He's got to be in another car somewhere else,
Right.
or they dropped him off or whatever. So at that point, I know nothing.
Yeah. Are
I'm
you
totally,
thinking that he said, Mom, this direction, and he went the opposite direction to
well, what we know
fool
about
you?
Xaviar is there's only a few states that he's familiar with: the Missouri, Kansas, Texas, California, and a little bit on the East Coast, but he wasn't there long enough to do anything. So
Okay.
we figured he was going to go to California. In the meantime, we've got FBI, we got investigators, we got U.S. Marshals, Kansas, Missouri, Oklahoma. I mean, we got the world
I
looking
say
for this
that's a
guy.
lot of people chasing one guy or looking for one guy, right? That's
Well,
amazing.
at this time, we knew then that it was possible that he was robbing many banks. So everybody wanted this guy. I mean, they were calling me all the time, Mike. Hey, what do you know about this? Now
Right.
they would never tell me anything. The FBI, the marshals, none of. they don't tell me nothing because they don't want me to go off of their information and go get him first, because they knew I was active. I was out there to find him. And it would have been great if we would have found him on camera, or at least have the FBI tell us, okay, we know where he's at. We're going to get him. Come film it. But they don't like to be filmed either.
No,
So.
they do not.
Right.
Yeah.
I was telling Nancy in our other episode, it really reminds me of the 70s movies like Smokey and the Bandit, where there's like a full-on chase across country, or Convoy, where there's like all these agencies. Like those are the movies we grew up on.
Xavier in a wolf costume driving a car.
Right.
It's
a crazy scenario. But why, by the way, Mike, why do you think he ran? Why do you think he just picked up and left? Do you think that he found out the investigations were like illuminating he had robbed multiple banks?
Well, he kept telling me this, and he kind of admitted to us. He did. I don't know if the words admit, but he kind of led on to tell us that this was not the first bank. But he didn't say I robbed other banks. But after he gave us a statement, we were like, is he saying he robbed other banks? Is he saying he did it?
Yeah.
But then he would always say to me, I would try to talk to him, and I'd say, well, just do this or do this, whatever we were talking about at the time. And he would say, I'm smarter than that. He kept telling, I don't care what I said to him, I'm smarter than that. Well, Xavier, no, you're not.
Right.
Because where are you? Behind bars.
Right. So I'm a bail bondsman, and I'm in your life right now.
I was going to say, it's the double down, right? I know better. I can do this. I've done it.
I told him, I said, listen, if you run from me, I'm going to find you. Whether it's me, other agencies, we're all going to work together. We're going to find you. There's nowhere you can go. Oh, I'm smarter than that. I'm smarter than that. So we knew kind of that it's possible he was going to run. So I was hoping he didn't, but I see why he did. But that's why I'm saying I think he ran. This is just an assumption of mine. I think the whole reason he ran was that problem he was trying to fix. He was trying to set up something for his mother and brother and fix what other problem that could hamper that. I don't know. But that's what he led me to believe, because he just made it seem like there was something just very important that he had to do. What that is, I never found out. I never found out.
Interesting.
But he was willing to go to jail and do time to make sure that his mother was taken care of. I mean,
well, not only that, but he went on the run and robbed more banks. Like, it wasn't like he learned a lesson.
Oh, no.
He said, "Oh, gotta go handle something," and then he proceeded to rob 2 more banks.
Well, he had no skill set. His skill was
Nevada. Nevada and California.
Yeah, Nevada and California.
Yeah. In the state he was staying in, and he robbed a bank. That's not too smart. But yeah, his skill set is robbing banks. But he studied that. He studied that for a long time in order to perfect what he was doing. And the only reason why he got caught in the other banks was because he dropped a glove and one had his DNA on it, or they never would have got him. I mean, yeah, he's a big guy. I mean, this guy's a big dude. He's 6'2", 300 pounds, maybe. Just a big, wow. He eats, those big buckets of peanut butter? I'm talking like the restaurant size peanut butter. Sure. He eats those like they're just, he eats them like he's drinking water.
Oh, wow.
He's a weightlifter. So he eats lots of peanut butter. That would give me heartburn for days.
Yeah, no kidding. By the way, Nancy, Travis Kelce could not play him in the movie. He's not big enough.
He's not big enough.
So he's on the run for how many days when you finally get a whiff of okay, I'm on the right trail?
Probably 3 weeks out of the 90 days. I knew they still didn't know where he was, and neither did we. We knew he wasn't in Kansas. We knew he wasn't in Missouri. We knew that.
So it's been 70 days at least.
And
you've got no idea where he is.
I know that the FBI doesn't know where he's at. The marshals don't know where he's at because they're calling me. Mike, what have you found out anything? Just the smallest thing. What do you know? Yeah, I know about those small things, officer, because If I had one, trust me, I would tell you, you know.
Right.
Hmm.
And I was having trouble getting the points from court services, okay? The leg monitor points. I said, hey, I need those points so I can review them to see what he did while he was here. For some reason, they didn't want to give them to me. They said they couldn't. I said, what do you mean you can't? I'm the bondsman. You know, I can track him, you know? And they
Sure.
were like, well, we can't give them to you, which I think was crap. So I say, how can I get them? I tell the investigators, I want these points. I say, if I could just get the points, I'll do the work. I'll do all the addresses. I'll figure everything out. They said, well, shoot, that's all you need. No problem. I got them the next day. So I went through every single point, everything that he's ever done while he was here before he
Sure.
ran. I went through every address. This boy's smart. I'm telling you, he is pretty smart. What I figured out he was doing was he was tricking me
He was just creating plot points of where he was when
to
he
trick
wasn't.
me. To
Yeah.
trick me. Yeah. He would go to a yoga studio and just sit there for an hour and a half, whatever, but never went in the building.
Hmm.
We've never got him on film anywhere except the restaurants, like the fast food joints where he went, the ones that had it. They could see him
Mhm.
coming in, leaving, getting in his car, leaving. Never did anything. And those points gave us nothing. I mean, nothing.
He was fake breadcrumbing.
Yes.
Yes.
Breadcrumb.
Yeah. And I was following those breadcrumbs like Hansel and Gretel, and
I
I
was
didn't
just
find
gonna-
the candy house.
At
not
least
find
you
the candy
knew. Mike, I have to point out, at least you knew it was Hansel and Gretel. I said Little Red Riding Hood in a different episode, and one of our listeners wrote in to let me know. Say like, please tell Nancy it's Little Red Riding Hood did not breadcrumb. I was like, oh, whoops.
No, but they did have a wolf in that
That's right. They
story.
had the wolf.
That's true.
That's right.
That's
And it
true.
could have been him. So from that, I mean, we found absolutely nothing. So, you know, we basically went and watched the mother. They were not communicating. If they were, I don't know how. I had sound and tracking ability on them. Now, if they walk away from the car, I can't hear what they're saying, you know. But when they
Mhm.
walked away from the car, they weren't on their phone. They were walking. They walk a lot, but they don't do it until like around between midnight and 2 a.m. That's when they get out of their car when it's not hot. And they get out and they do their little walk. And then during the day, they just stay in their car. Windows rolled down. I mean, they sleep in there. They basically have like wipies, you know, like bath wipies. That's how they bathe. And then during the week, and then Saturday, they go to a certain pool at a motel, the same one every single time. They go in the back door, wait for someone to open, go in through the back door. They don't take a shower. They jump in the pool. That's their shower for the week.
There's a
Yeah.
lot going on here. There's
There's a lot going on.
There's a
This is
lot.
much bigger than a normal case, I'm imagining. This is like
Yes.
taking you down a whole different path that you probably aren't
Yep.
used to.
There's mental illness. There's, you know, there's all kinds of things here. And you can't, if you're a normal person, and what I mean by normal, like normal standards, like what the world says you're normal, then I don't see how you can't have empathy for these people. Not sympathy or anything like that, but you know, if they're doing wrong, they're doing wrong. They're adults, they know what they're doing, okay? But
Mhm.
if you don't have at least just a little bit of empathy for these people, you're not human, you know?
Well, yeah,
Right.
and the boys.
But the interesting thing is that Mike, he had money. He had $150,000 on him at one point. Like, why? Like, especially
He's had
you
way
being like
more
an
than
unofficial counselor. Like, at
He
some
had way
point,
more
don't you
than
just
exactly.
say,
Mike just said way more than that because over $1 million
way
passed
more.
through his
right?
hands.
But at some point, don't you just say, listen, take $15,000, buy an apartment for the year, rent an apartment for the year, and put your mom and brother in the apartment so you can live
Great
a
question.
normal existence.
Great question. The way they're living, normal to them because
Yeah.
it doesn't cost anything except gas. And
Yeah.
he's having the time of his life. He is getting everybody's approval. Oh, great, man. You're fantastic, Wolfman. Hey, come take a picture with my son. Come take a picture with my daughter. You know, come on over here and take. And he's loving it. I mean, he's eating it up. Then comes the problem. And here's the number one problem, I think, his downfall. Because he could do just what you said. He's had plenty of money to invest and then have a normal life. Why didn't he do it? Gambling problem. He gambled so that the money he was stealing, he could launder it through the
Yes.
gambling places.
Sure.
They catch on, they start saying, you can't come here anymore. We went to many of those places and said, hey, have you seen this guy? Oh, no, he's banned from here. They knew exactly who he was. He can never step a foot in here. If he does, we're going to arrest him.
So when do you get the tip off?
I didn't know he was in California until I started talking to the FBI. And what had happened was we all share information, okay? Now, his upfront social media names, everybody had, okay? But there were some that he had that he doesn't have, like, he doesn't use for the public.
Mhm.
So a lot of people don't know this. I knew what it was. So I said, well, what about this particular name? And I said, check this out. I said, I can't do it. You know, I can't go to Google and Facebook and all them and say, hey, check this name out, you know, or is this active? I can't do that. So I told them, and I'm telling you, they go, okay, we'll check it out. And I mean, it wasn't long. And they called me back and they said, we think we know where he's at. I said, great, because I'm about to pay this 80,000. I can't wait any longer. You know, I need to pay this. And they said, oh, really? They said, oh, we didn't know that. They said, give us a little bit. We'll call you back. I said, okay. And this was like, I don't know, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. I don't know, somewhere around there. 11 o'clock that morning, I went down to the courthouse and paid my 80 grand. And when I got back, it was probably around 4 or 5 p.m. They called me up and said, guess what? I said, what? They go, we got him. What?
Mm.
I said, you got him? I said, man, I just paid that bond. I wouldn't even had no payment because I still had a week. You know, I still had 1 week left. But they go, yeah, we got him. And then he sent me a picture. He goes, look on your phone. And they had him, you know, handcuffed, his head down like that, his hair hanging down in the front. And he was like this. And he was arrested.
Where did they catch him on a traffic
California?
stop?
No. He was in California and he was in a parking lot. And they tracked him. I think they didn't tell me verbatim that they found him from my information, but it just so happens that after I told them that, now all of a sudden they got him, you know. And how they know he was in the parking lot? They had to trace him somehow, you know. But nobody knew the automobile he was in. He wasn't using old social media, so I just kind of think, and you know, and I asked him, "Oh, did you get him off my tip? You know, how did you get him?" Well, it's just what we do, Mike. You know, he's not going to tell me. You know what I mean? But he goes, I just told the officers that if they spot him, just go ahead and arrest him, because I think what they were trying to do was watch him and then see if he'll rob another bank. They can catch him in the act. Now, I don't know about that. I'm just
right.
Yeah,
that's what
well,
he
he had
made
already
me
done
believe.
2 additional ones.
Yeah.
So I think
Well,
they probably thought.
Well, I was going to say, so the path, I know this area very well because I have relatives up in that area, but he had gone to Henderson, which is basically Las Vegas. Then he was up in Sparks, Nevada, which is Reno. And then where he's caught in El Dorado is just over the hill. It's on the way back. It's right into California on your way back from Tahoe, Reno area along the 80 up there. So he wasn't far into California.
What they all have in common are casinos as well. So
okay, well, there you go. That's why he's there.
When he's arrested, is he hauled back to Oklahoma? Do you ever face him again, or are you now just following the story?
Because now he's in federal custody, and they were holding him in California, I believe, at first, and then they shipped him back to Oklahoma. But the feds got him, and they held him the whole entire time. He did not come back to state jail. So what I have to do at that point is, once he's in custody, I have to present what they call a motion and order for the courts. And I have to say, hey, now he's arrested. I have to prove where he's in custody, who he's in custody with. And once I do all that, they relieve me of the bond. It's called exonerate the bond. That means I'm no longer responsible. Well, now they've got my 80,000 up here and they're holding it. So then I have to turn around. Once I get that approval, I need to take that, and then I have to do more paperwork in order. It's called a remitter to get my money back, and it's all through the court system. So you know this takes time. It took them I brought the money to them. It takes seconds for them to put it in the system. Well, it took them 3 months to give me my money back. And I'm not complaining. They just have to make sure and verify and make sure everything's correct. But I finally got it back, and stuff like that. So,
but you have to front it. It's no fun to have to front 80 grand, I'm sure.
So have you ever heard again from Xavier, mom, brother? Have any of them ever reached out to you since the story kind of concluded or the case concluded?
Well, I went to the mother and brother right before we got him. And I, pretty much I said, listen, I can't help Xavier unless you guys help me. I said, I get it if you don't want to help me. The mother just kept saying, we don't have nothing to say. We don't have nothing to say. They weren't mean or rude. Just, we don't have anything to say. So, and the brother was like, well, they can't convict him. They got to prove it. That's what he kept saying.
Right.
So after that, never had any more contact with mom and brother. Now, could I have sued them? Yes. Could I have gotten something from them? Yes. They had 3 automobiles. I could have took 2 of them.
Right.
I could have taken 2 of their automobiles. But you know what? That empathy side of me said, Mike, you know what? It's just not worth it. And why am I going to take away their transportation? Then where are they going to live? Where are they going to, you know what I mean?
Did Xavier hook them up with good cars at least, or are they, what kind of
Oh yeah, they had very nice cars. Yeah, their cars were decent. I mean, there was nothing wrong with them. They ran. You bet. Yeah, he made sure. And what he did was right before he left to go wherever he went. I don't know how she got this document, but she had a document, and it was dated a couple weeks after he fled the first time. And it was a thing transferring the automobiles from his name to her. So we thought he was somewhere. He was either there then, and then he was gone, or we don't know what was the deal there. But he had to have been there that date. But it was only like a week or 2 from the time he left. So we didn't catch him on that time frame.
So he transferred title knowing that he was leaving for good.
Yep. And I think they said, don't have any communication with me. Don't call me. Don't do nothing. And I'll take care of it. You'll know when I contact you.
Yeah.
Because
you can see how you'd have empathy. It's a little bit of a tragic ending, right? He's got to say goodbye. Even this horrible lifestyle he's been living for years, and his mom and brother are going to be, that's going to be their life forever.
Yep.
And he's got to say so long.
He was toast. He knew it. He knew it.
It was like a matter of time. Yeah.
But Xavier did contact me to answer your question. After he was arrested, went through federal court, then he came to Tulsa County again. When he was in the Tulsa jail, he wrote me a letter, and I still have it. It's like 2-3 pages long. And he went in there and he just talked about, basically his life, that he never meant any harm for me. Well, yeah, you did, because you ran on me. That's 80 grand, bro. Why did you send me 80 grand? Why did you send me 80 grand? So he didn't care about me. He didn't care about nobody. He just hauled butt,
Yeah.
So
I think the letter was to kind of clear his conscience. He knows that you did right by him, and like, a little manipulation on my way out the door.
Yeah, he said I was unbelievable. He's never met a guy like me. So I think I surprised him, because even though he was stabbed me in the back with everything, a sword, a knife, whatever, machete, whatever you can think of, I still had empathy for the guy. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I gave him $100 to call his mom, or he would have never talked to her. I mean, I don't know if she was going to try to get some money together or what, but I think she was on Social Security, because they always had an envelope with like about $2,000 in it at all times in their car. So,
I think that mom has got a lot more somewhere there. I'm of that mindset that I know a lot of money passed through.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They're getting it somehow.
I think that the money's not. It's not that money's not important to them. I mean, it was important to Xavier because he wanted that outlet of going to the games and living this flashy lifestyle, right? That he wanted that.
And he got addicted with the gambling. So it was, that's what hurt him right there.
Yeah.
That's what hurt him. Yep.
Yeah, it's a lifestyle choice, obviously, what they
It
were
is.
doing. So, this has been a really educational. We've learned about the bail bondsman life. We've learned about the homeless or gypsy life and the bank robber life. It's
Yeah.
I mean,
well
this.
rounded.
I would say this story. That's what I found so fascinating. It had different layers of things that went on that I don't think. I don't know. When you think of bank robber, it's something more meticulous and planned, not a guy dressed up as a wolf that rides on a bicycle. Like it's just there's a lot going on that I just found so fascinating with what
Yep.
this guy did. Yeah,
Yep.
it's
Well,
crazy.
you took a giant leap of faith, and I said in the episode, I'll say it again, there should be more people like you willing to lend a hand out there. So good on you. I think you're crazy in some respects,
Yep.
but I'm
That's what
glad
everybody tells me.
but I'm glad there are people like you out there, Mike.
And I would do it again. I would do this same case all over again with the same result.
Mhm. No, knowing that was going to be the same result.
I love it.
Oh, and remember, guys, I want everybody in your audience, everybody to know and understand that a bail bond is your right as a citizen, and everybody has a right to bond according to the Constitution of the United States. So don't get mad at the bail bondsman. It's just a field that we try to make money too. But
Hmm.
um, like I said, it's the law, and if people are upset at that, change the law, make it where you can't bond. You know what I mean? I don't know what to tell people, but that's the big number one thing. At the end of the documentary, people were calling me and saying, "You're a piece of crap. Why would you bond that jerk?" They don't know me. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
didn't take offense to it. Just I know people getting their feelings. But that's the one thing I want to leave with you guys. I don't know if you'll play that part or not, but I think it's very important for people to understand that. So
Yeah, no, you made a great point because, yeah, if you was their family member or something, of course, you want them to at least have the opportunity to go through the court system properly and to be at home or be wherever if they can be.
yep. Did Babudar deserve what he got? Absolutely. Did he have a real gun? No, he didn't. He had a pellet gun that was never loaded, so he never went in there with the intention to harm anyone. If they would have had security, they could have shot and killed him. There's nothing he could have done about it. So he didn't go in there with the intent to harm. He went in there with the intent to steal, and he got what he deserved. But then again, you got to think of the victim. The victims
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, you're pointing a gun at a victim. She don't know if that. One of the victims is a total basket case right now. That's not the right word to use, but
Yeah.
she's not doing well, from what I understand, because now she has nightmares. She can't work at a bank no more. She's afraid to work anywhere because somebody may come in and point a gun at me.
Sure.
So you got to
I
look at it both
don't blame
sides.
them. Yeah. No, it takes
Yeah,
its toll.
absolutely, absolutely. But at the same time, we still need empathy for people. Yes, convict them, get what they deserve, but don't treat them. He did that for a reason. If you were 9 years old, you grew up the way he did. Possibility you could have went through some stuff too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you got to think about those kinds of things. Doesn't make it right, but come on. You got to be human.
Well, Mike, thanks for joining us. This is a great debrief, great story, Nancy. And
Yeah, I love this story. I love it. Love it. And he's got a long run ahead of him. He'll be in federal prison for the next 30
A long time.
Yeah. 30 years and another 14 in the state. So
Mike, let us know the next time you have a case like this that comes up, and we'll be sure to be following you. And everybody else, we will see you on the next episode in just a few days. Thanks. The Slippery is recorded in and around Los Angeles, California.
the show is produced by us and it's edited by Brian Galato.
Special thanks to Jack Eldridge, Leslie Lindsay, Kellyanne Martin, and Sam Syret.
Since you made it this far, you probably like The Slippery.
Why not let all of your friends know? Share our episodes, write a review, click the like button, do whatever you can. Please.
We are all over your social media. Please join our community at The Slippery Pod on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Go ahead and slip into our DMs.
Over on YouTube, we're at The Slippery, and you can find all of our episodes on our website, theslippery.com.
Use our email address for all questions, inquiries, and tips, theslipperypod@gmail.com.
Last but not least, if you want to advertise on this show, go to theslippery.com and click on our Buy Me a Coffee button and make us an offer. Your ad will either get on air or you'll get a full refund. Don't believe us? Try it and find out.